Richard Fowler, who's a Democratic political strategist, was the National Advocacy Director for Young Democrats of America. He is in Washington, along with Dede Benke, who's a former Bush White House staffer, here in our studios. Great to see both of you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let me start with you, Richard. What do you make of the fact that Mr. Perry is trying to roll out this new plan at a time when he is not doing so well in the polls, and he's doing it at a place where he actually made his campaign announcement official in South Carolina? The setting for the whole thing and the plan itself. What do you think?
Well, look, I think the Perry campaign is taking on water. It's very clear they're so low. They're doing so low in the polls. The campaign lacks a lot of discipline. You know, there's never a week that goes by without Rick Perry putting his foot in his mouth. This week it was about the poking fun at the birth certificate. 3 weeks ago, it was about calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme.
You're talking about the birth certificate, about President Obama making mention about that again, saying that it's something that
you could poke fun at the president about.
Yeah, he was quoted as saying that. So yes, he did go on record saying that. But when you take a look at the plan itself, do you think it has any legs? I mean, giving people the choice of having a flat tax or not. Giving people the option as to whether or not how much they want to contribute, allowing the mortgage deduction and things like that to stay in if you make less than $500,000. That might be attractive to some folks.
Not at all. I think what we've seen with the flat taxes is just that. It's flat and dead on arrival. We saw it in 1996 with Bob Dole. We've seen it again in the 2000 primary. The Republicans continue to bring up the flat tax, but even when George W. Bush had the White House for 8 years, we did not see them implement the flat tax. In 2008, we saw Mike Huckabee talk about the flat tax, and it's going nowhere. The flat tax is not a solution to fixing our economy. It's very clear. It doesn't resonate with the people. People don't understand it. It's not only complicated, but it's not going to work for our current economic situation.
Well, Dede, I don't know that it was actually seriously bandied about during the Bush administration. I mean, there have been different efforts to try to revive the idea of it. But given the economic climate that we're in, and the fact that people are really struggling, and our tax system seems to be, our tax code and everything seems to be out of control, people are really taking a second look. Perhaps people are looking at Herman Cain, and perhaps that's one reason he's doing well in the polls.
I think you're right. That's exactly the reason he's doing well, because he wants to simplify the tax code, and that resonates with citizens because nobody likes the tax code. Nobody understands it. It's difficult. The people who are able to take advantage of this are corporations and those who have the money to hire high-paid attorneys to get them out of paying taxes, and that's not right, and people don't like it. So I think this is all good for all the Republican candidates to come up with a new plan.
What about Perry's plan? What do you see as the merits of that plan?
Well, I got to tell you that he needs to pull a phoenix. I mean, he needs to come out of the ashes because it's not gone well for him at all. But the plan looks good, solid. I mean, just took a look at it today. But it's something he really needs to do. He needed to come up with something new. The big difference with Perry, Uma, is the fact that he has come up with a new team. The team he had, good folks, but small, in Texas. And, running a presidential campaign is a great big deal. It's a monumental task. So now he's got folks who have done it before, so I think we're going to see a difference with Perry.
But in terms of looking at the tax plans, as Carl pointed out, for example, he said that Newt Gingrich has his own plan, and it capped it at 15%, which nobody really talked about, and now maybe we'll get some people talking the fact that we're discussing all these different tax plans. But in and of itself, do you think that for Republicans, this is going to be an issue that's going to work for them in this election to really focus on revamping our tax code?
I do. I think it's good for all the Republican candidates. And I think we should give a lot of credit to Herman Cain. He is really the guy that brought this to the forefront. And now everybody's like, wow, that resonated with people. He's shot up in the polls. I think it's because people are like, yeah, I hate paying taxes. I hate the way we pay taxes. It seems like it's unfair. It's too complicated. Anything that's got pages that are 4 foot tall, that's too much. And it's just needs to be scrapped, and I think most people would agree with that.
Richard, I mean, you said that this Perry's plan seems a bit complicated, but people are very concerned that the current plan that we have in place right now has been complicated for years and continues to get worse year after year. Is there any room, from the Democrats' point of view, as to seeing where we might be able to revamp the current system that is in place?
Oh, I think you're completely right. I think our tax system is very complicated. A lot of people don't understand it. But we've seen Democrats make the push to change the tax system. Unfortunately, they face resistance in the House of Representatives and the United States Senate. We've seen Mark Warner come out with a plan that would fix our tax code. Mark Warner talked about it pretty good. He said that we have to go big or go home when it comes to fixing our tax code.
In what way? What was his plan?
Well, in the Mark Warner's plan, what he would do is he would simplify the tax code, get rid of a lot of the corporate loopholes that exist for, millionaires and billionaires and corporate jet owners and yacht owners, and make it and simplify it so that it would benefit the entire country. But there's no question that we have to find a good way to fix our tax plan that will benefit the country, and that means that everybody should pay their fair share. And I think that's what we've seen the president articulate for the past couple of months, and we've seen members of the United States Senate articulate that same position, that we need a tax system that everybody pays their fair share. And that is how we solve our tax plan, not by scrapping the whole system and throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is what we're seeing from the Republican Party. One thing that you...
Well, is that really fair, though? I don't think the Republicans are actually saying get rid of the whole system. They're saying they want to improve upon it like you're saying that some of the Democrats want to do.
Well, not necessarily. I think Herman Cain said that he would scrap the whole tax plan.
And it's coming up with a plan to put in its place. I mean, I don't know that I don't think anybody's advocating get rid of tax plans altogether, get rid of paying taxes overall.
And that's not what I'm articulating. I think what I'm articulating is that what most folks are trying to do is they're saying we're going to throw out everything we currently have and put in a completely new plan, thinking it's going to solve all of our problems. And I think what the best way to do is to sort of work in the system that we have to find ways to sort of fix the system that we currently have that would sort of make it easier for Americans to understand. And I think that's what Mark Warner is advocating. We've seen the president try to advocate the same thing, and we've also seen the president be a big champion of tax cuts. He's made the biggest middle-class tax cut in American history. We've seen him wanting to extend the payroll tax to decrease the payroll tax so that the middle-class families, people who make $50,000 a year, can receive $12,000 back in their pockets to spend on prime pumping our economy. So I think we have to find a way to simplify our tax system, but throwing out the current system we have and creating a completely new one might not be the best answer.
All right, I'll give you a couple of points, a couple of seconds, and then I want to move on to something else.
Yeah, this almost sounds like the Democrats are afraid that the Republicans are going to claim victory on some big win, because this is a big win. Nobody likes the tax code. It's not right. It's not fair. The flat tax is doing exactly what you're saying, Richard, is making sure that people pay their fair share. And also, with the Perry plan, he's talking about you can opt in or opt out. So it's not scrapping it. It's experimenting, as Carl Cameron said. And all of these plans are something different, which is good. It's not working now. The tax code is flawed, it's bad, and we need to do something. And the Republicans are coming up with all these plans, and so America wins on this.
Well, let's see